Hello, everybody. This is Mike from mboxwave.com. Gonna do something a little different today. I haven't entered any trades yet. This is actually before the market has opened. I got an email recently. Somebody was particularly interested in seeing pre-market analysis of the E-mini Dow Jones. So I thought, okay, maybe I should do a different kind of video, change it up. So I decided that today I will only trade the Dow Jones. I'm not going to look at any other markets. I'm going to do some pre-market analysis and then just watch it. If a trade opportunity comes up, I'll take it. And I'll do some commentary until I take a trade. I'll call out what I see, how I see things in the analysis. Because a lot of the times people are struggling with is focus, right? And so I want to show that even if you focus on one market and if you're patient, you'll get a trade setup. Some days are choppy, or some days don't move any much, but I've decided I'm just going to do Dow Jones and we'll just see how it turns out. All right. So markets haven't even opened. It's around 9 in the morning. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at zoom out and look at potential interesting levels, right? So I see that here we're hitting up right here, this zone. This is an area of support, right? So I'm just going to mark that with a line. It's not an exact, but it's around, price hits this many times, it comes back. And now it looks like, price is hitting up on it again, and we've got X total control of the offers. This looks like a effort result situation here. A lot of selling spent, drop in supply. I mean, this is pre-market stuff. All right. Now we're getting huge X-pace offers and control. This almost looks like this even looks like a tradable setup, but I guess I'm not prepared to trade it. We had a triple algo here. That rode price down a little bit. Anyway, so the point of this video is to do some analysis and then wait for a trade setup. So before the markets open, usually I don't trade that. So even though this actually looked pretty good, it actually looked pretty tradable. But I guess I'm gonna pass. And anyway, okay. So the first thing, let's see, what are we gonna do? We're gonna mark up the lines. So what else? So this is a level of support. This is a level of resistance. All right. So I'm going to be interested in these two levels. Let me change the color. Going forward. But I'm going to wait until the markets open and before considering trades. So that's just my general rule, right? Everyone needs to make their own rules for trading, right? When you trade, how long do you wait, etc. All right, so overall, I'm seeing a bearish trend. It's not rocket science. Price has been moving down, okay? And if you look at the previous day, I always like to compare previous day. You'll see there's more selling. It's, well, stronger here, right? And the after hours price was generally heading down. So yesterday was more of a choppy day. And then in the pre-market hours, price has been steadily going down. And, it's sort of a precursor. The selling is beating down much harder than the buying. and then the price went down. This is just observation, you know. And I guess also you could see the selling here, the pre-market hours dominating. So we're in a downtrend. We're in a downtrend. I've drawn my, support and resistance. I'm going to be putting the record on pause, and I'll be coming in and out until I get into a trade, and I'll be making some commentary on what I see. I think there's a more than a good chance we're going to hit this. We're going to hit this resistance line, but I'm not going to enter that trade. I'm going to wait until the market opens. All right, I'm back. Market's just open, so I want to comment on this. Do you see we've got this, big wicks here on the bottom and top, and this is the opening bar, and price just goes like up and down, just get everybody out, confuse everybody. But what I wanted to comment on is what I see here is this level that I drew. It looks like it's having an effect, right? So pre-market we went up high here. We had a lot of demand, 560. We had a 121 after it. Higher high, less demand. I call it a price order flow imbalance. At the same time, buying drops here. And we also see now that the overall buying is dropped and is crossed over. We see that the pace of offers also. All right. This could very well be a legit short right here. You know what? I'm gonna get in. All right. So I think for now I'm gonna put my take profit at this previous level of support. And look at all this. We had this numerous control dots. We had 3 strong control and then total control of the bids. Supplies coming in, selling, going hard, huge pace of the bids. I know it's a little risky since it's shortly after open. Usually I like to wait a little bit, but I guess since it was on video and I looked decent, got in. I mean, if I lose this, it's not a big deal. Actually we had a pretty good, decent setup here. We got really strong price action here coming down. How does it fare? Look at that. It's compared to the previous day. Compared to the previous day, we have more selling in the it's still adjusting, and the MBOX histogram for the cumulative delta, it's still, we'll see if that outgrows the previous day, but this is already a strong indication right here. We're not doing bad. I mean, we're already 1,000 in profit. It doesn't have the 10 points of confluence that I normally wait for, but it was a setup, so I took it. Like, if you want to make sure that you have the best chances of making a high probability trade, you wait for more points of confluence. But this actually had quite a few. We had the demand, ran out here, became an imbalance, higher high, less demand. Buying has exhausted here, and the MBOX histogram and the cumulative delta, huge pace of the bids. Huge selling here, and we had all these control dots. I mean, everything actually lined up. Wasn't expecting that. Um, all right, so looks like we are coming down with some supply, quite a bit of supply now. You know, we'll see if this keeps on growing here. And the cumulative delta is growing, but here it's not. So I'd be concerned about potentially this, but we'll see what happens. I'm gonna pause the record and let it do some more action. Looks like it's still at it. Yeah. So I don't want this to end up to be like an hour or 2 hour long video. All right. Well, okay, we got an action actually. Just got out of the trade, take profit, hit it hit that support level as if it was magic, you know. But I'm glad that I got out of the trade because, you know, if we look here, it's a big contraction in the selling in the inbox histogram. Still going okay in the Q and delta, but here's a big contraction. I don't like that. Contraction in the pace of bids, contraction here. So not everything adds up, right? And look at that. I mean, this is what happens, right? When the markets open and they're really volatile, they go like, you know, it's like a whiplash effect. Good thing I was able to get filled, you know, that I was actually part of the meat of it, not at the total. If I was at here, maybe I wouldn't have gotten filled. But $4,600 in profit. I could call it a day, but I think the goal of the video was to watch one market and comment on it and see what else comes up. So I'll just probably do that. You know, the thing is that here it looks like, you know, price jumped up, but where's the buying? A very low amount of buying here. Right? Very little. I'm not typing stuff on the chart today. A little lazy to do that, but I figure I'll just explain everything. So far, I mean, in respect, this looks like, you know, not much buying. I mean, look how much selling we had. Look at the amount of buying. So is it gonna follow through? Is it gonna follow through? At this point, I'm interested to see, you know, are we gonna break this right here? Are we or are we not? Granted, you know, what I don't like this, the 44 looks weak, right? There's, I mean, 560, 121, and here I called that it was, you know, imbalance and, you know, demand dropped. But here it's like we got barely any demand and price just shoots up. Not much buying either. You know, if we zoom out, we're still biased. See, we're still selling. Oh, look at that. The selling in the Q and delta has exceeded the previous day. See, the thing is, if you're just watching one market and that's enough to trade for a living, you can mark everything up as it's going and see what's going on. Otherwise, if you keep switching between markets, you might miss something, you know? So if you don't have consistent profits yet, just watch one market, you know? If there isn't a good trade, don't take it. Look at this. Now it's whipping back down, you know? It almost looks characteristic of just chop, you know? And I don't like this. It's not what I like to trade. So, you know, for now I'm calling it a chop. So I'll come back a little bit later. All right. So I'm back because I want to comment on what I see here. All right. And, if you look here, we see that the selling is, for the time being, look at that, dried up. Dried up, we'll cross over into buying, but it's really weak. It's chop. I don't see anything good here. You shouldn't take any trades right now, right? Prices all over the place. Selling in both of these indicators shows dried up. Here we're seeing a little bit pace of the offers. See, and that kind of, this pace of the offers right here was a precursor to the small amount of buying here. You know, we had a little demand, 125. Still pales in comparison to this 401 minus 401 minus 224. So demand buying ain't strong. It ain't strong. So we crossed over, but it ain't strong. Looks like price is coming back down again. All right, so I hold. So this is what I would do. All right, I'll come back a little later. All right, now what are we seeing? We're seeing that price jumped up. We're getting demand, some demand here. I mean, buying. Demand is not strong. Oh, there it goes, 105. Actually, that increased very quickly. Actually, this is good. Could be good for a quick scalp. You know, it's not an ideal setup. It's just a scalp. It's not a high. It's not a high confluence trade. You know, but let's risk it. Where am I going to take profit? Top of the swing. I don't really want to risk that much. Do about that much. But we had a few things going here. We had the total control here. This is the first sign of buying. Like we had some buying here, but since that point, so now we've had the most amount of buying we had since the market opened. The market opened here, so it's the most amount we've had since the market opened. This is weak. This ain't that strong. That's why if this trade works out, is going to be, for a little bit. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Not an ideal setup. But I'm watching the one market and for the sake of education, trying to provide my chart reading skills here. So let's see what happens. 127. So that's more demand than here. So that's the most amount of demand we've had since this 560. And actually, this is the most amount of demand we've had, 140, since the market's opened, which was right here. So you got to notice this. These are the small details. This is the most amount of demand we've had since the market opened, and the most amount of buying we've had since the market opened. Is it worth, a huge amount? I'm not sure. At this point, I'm not going to say that it is going to be worth a huge, it's not like a huge rally. Is it worth something? I think it's worth something. That's why I got in this trade. Because we had this selling exhaustion here. We got some demand buying. It's worth something, I think. I could be wrong. Markets always, throw people off. So we're getting some kind of correction. I mean, if I get stopped out, I get stopped out. All right. Well, I'm going to pause the record and we'll come back when it's just going horizontal. We'll come back when we actually see something. All right, so I'm back and I got stopped out. All right, I initially said it wasn't a great trade. It was like a 50-50. That's okay. We're still in profits. Um, it ate up a good amount of my profits. It was not a high confluence trade. Yeah, we saw some demand and some buying, but I knew it wasn't good. I knew it wasn't good, you know. But I think it's good that I showed it because, this is the kinds of trades that are not worth it, right? To take. And I've confined myself to just the Dow Jones today. Maybe I am feeling bored and wanting to get in on the action too, but that's all right. That's a challenge. Have the patience watch one market for the whole day. All right, I'm not going to do any more of these silly trades. It's got to be a banger for the next one. See that we're going sort of horizontal, but we're going down. This is a failure. Look at this. The pace of bids picked up. Pace of bids picked up. Looks like we crossed over back to selling. Looks like supply is coming in, minus 164. I gotta wait until we get some more confluence. So currently right now is going horizontal. Gotta wait to see something more. I'm not gonna get in on this breakdown. It's not enough confluence. All right, I'll come back a little later. All right, I'm in again. Price is going horizontal, slowly edging its way down. We had an interesting event here, right? We had a bunch of demand here in buying, and look at what it did. It hit our previous level of support, which is now acting as resistance. So we went 207, 217, came back up on higher high on higher demand, and look at this. This is what I like to see. We went from buying to no buying while demand has increased. This is a beautiful divergence. Okay. It's too much product, no interest in it. All right. Meanwhile, we've had short signals, had this up thrust. We have this beautiful triple algo here. That's also part of the decision-making process here. I had expansion of selling here. Do you see? Things are starting to line up. The cumulative buying is sort of flatlined. Okay, we haven't seen it here in the cumulative selling. We haven't seen it expand yet. Okay, but everything else seems to be lining up. Okay, we have the bids are outpacing. We don't have total control yet, but actually here we have quite a lot of confluence. See, that's much later in the day than I like to trade. It's already 11:30. It's almost 12 o'clock, and when I watch multiple instruments, all these like ES, YM, and Q, Russell, crude oil, and gold, and I find opportunities usually sooner, but I pledged I would watch just this one Dow Jones for the entire day, so that's okay. We've got a high confluence setup here finally. Do you see markets opened 9:30, and now we actually have a high confluence setup. First setup was okay too, but that was a wild card since it was shortly after the open, and I got a take profit here. I had my stop up there, so I guess I still would have gotten it in the end regardless. Anyway, so we've got 3 points here, triple algo 3. We had a signal before, so this is selling pressure. I consider this selling pressure. All these sell signals, right? All right, well, so let's see. So we had this demand, higher high, more demand, less buying. That's 4 points. The overall buying here has decreased 5 points. The cumulative buying has flat 0.6. Bids dominating 7. All right, we are this support line became resistance and held, you know, 8 points. We're breaking down further. It's about 8 points, but it's getting close to what I like to see. Oh, we had this selling here. See, this is, look at this. See, the entire day we didn't see such a clear sort of trend in buying or selling. Here we saw right here that it's exhausted, right? Is going down. We don't see like a ramp up of buying, really. It just went here to here. That's a long stretch, but here it's like 1, 2, 3. Selling, selling, selling. They all increased. It's hard to see, but this one is more than this one. Anyway, how long is this move good for? I'm already $1,000 in profit. Looks like I'm going to recover some losses here. All right, and overall we have supply, so that's 9 points because look at the 258 here. 224, 258 is greater than these, right? And we're getting selling with the supply, as opposed to the demand. We're not getting buying. All right. So I'm more confident about this setup. Still, I prefer when there's more volatility. I don't like to trade, close to lunchtime. But look at that. We're getting the total control. And look at this. If you look at the total control, how many times have we had it since the open? We had it 1 of the bids. 1, 2, 3, 4. How many times do we have total control of the offer since the open? 1. Another point of confluence, 10 points right there. So you could have waited to get into the trade until now if you wanted all those points. So that's pressure, right? Looking at the dots, you see there's more pressure going down. So now the question is, what's going to happen? Where is it going to go? What do we have? We zoom out. I don't have somewhere to place my take profit. If I go to 5-minute chart, I still don't have somewhere to place my profit, right? So 2,400 in profit. It's going good. Losses are being recovered. I'm going to ride this. I'll watch the technical analysis and see what happens. All right, so I got into another position here. I did an add-on. Look, so we came crashing down. Finally, we're getting some decent movement, right? And we're getting more selling here. And the cumulative delta is also showing that. We're also getting the pace of the bids. See, this is more of what I'm looking for usually, all right? Not this chop garbage that we had here. And we've got, Stooges sell. We've got a sell imbalance, which means there's more selling while the price moved up. We had a huge amount of supply, 460, the most amount of supply we've had since the market opened. That's important. And see, this is interesting because here is later on in the day, and it's almost matching the amount of selling we had after the market opened when it's most volatile. So that's important. I would not ignore that. Cumulative delta is not as strong as the beginning, but we can clearly see there's more selling going on. All right. So I dropped my stop here. If it goes against me, I'll get stopped out, take what I take for the day, and I'll probably be done if that happens because it's already lunchtime and I'm, it's been boring watching just this one chart the whole morning. It's kind of close to this. I don't know if that was the best thing to do. I didn't give it much room to breathe, but whatever, that's fine. We'll see what happens. Ideally, I probably would have wanted to give it more room to breathe. But we'll see what happens. All right, so I'll be back in a little bit. All right, I just exited. That was good for the day, good enough. 14 grand in profits. We've seen selling, drop here. Some maybe selling exhaustion. We're getting a less supply here, on these two consecutive waves. I'm in good profits, 14 grand. Very pleased for the day, Let's get the order fills here. So in the beginning, so I went short here and hit my profit here, right? So even if I wouldn't have been filled there, I had my stop up here. Price would have come down. So I would have made that anyway. So it wasn't just a fluke. Second trade, it wasn't a great trade. I was commenting on it while I was contemplating getting in, and I got in, just for fun, I suppose, But there was, no indication that it was a high confluence trade. Yes, there was some demand and we had buying, but we're overall in a downtrend bear market. It was a counter trend trade. See if I could scalp a few points. I do that sometimes, But the real trade, okay, the real trade in this whole day was this last one. Okay, we had the triple algo, demand, more demand on a higher high, but less buying. That's a big divergence. We saw that this previous support level became resistance, and it held. Price began to break down. We got all these bid control dots, and then we got the total control of the bids. Selling was increasing, crossed over in the cumulative delta. We got the pace of the bids, and I exited here when we had the change in technical analysis, and I was high in profits, 14,000. So that's it. So I hope the person that requested watching one market for the whole day and doing analysis pre-market and then during it, and I tried to give the best insight I could, and worked out very well, and it held. Here I got a little worried right here because I got in and then it looked like if I got stopped out, wasn't much room to breathe. I would have still been in profit. I got a little worried there, but overall, all the analysis at this point was very bearish, and we had this sell imbalance in the Stooges, and it pushed price further down. Anyway, so that's it for today. Hope you guys enjoy this video. It's a bit different than what I normally do. And, smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this where I just take a market, watch it the whole day, and do a blow-by-blow analysis like I did today. Let me know in the comments and smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. All right. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.